Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I'm Tahir Hindsa and you're watching SDTV. The era that we are just phasing out, coming out of it, is called era of fossil fuel. This a study by the French energy expert says that productivity of hydrocarbon is such that if you hire 15 people for 15 days, the productivity is equal to 1 gallon of gasoline if you index it. It means that you are juxtaposing about $15,000 of labor force against the 55 cent or so something. So when this era is phasing out, it raises certain questions. Because of this exceptional thing, when the US sold out its gold, which was 3 point some ounces war for a greenback, they pegged dollar on petroleum, and OPEC was formed. And OPEC, it was mandatory for them to trade in dollars. So reserve currency dollar, the status of dollar as a reserve currency is by and large pegged to the petroleum. If there is a decline, there is a price differential, the energy is in trouble, and so is the global thing. Now, the Dubai, with Dubai as a UAE that produces oil, has walked away from the OPEC. Saudi Arabia and other countries are remain, and it has implications because at this point in time, it is becoming difficult why UAE, which is close to the political bloc led by the US, has walked out. Just to answer initial questions, foundational questions, and answers on that, we have asked Dr. Abid Suleri to be in the program, and we straight away asked him, Doctor, please give us some foundational thing. What is this phenomenon that Dubai has walked out? UAE, rather.
First of all, we need to understand OPEC. OPEC, of course, is now the group of 10 countries after the departure of UAE, which used to decide about the production of oil and the prices of oil. And OPEC basically gained its fame and its popularity back in 1970s when the Gulf countries they made an embargo on oil sale to the countries who had supported Israel at that time, and that was the power of OPEC. Now, for some time now, UAE had been showing its dissent on production quotas. UAE was asking to increase its production quota from 3 million barrel per day to 4 to 5 million barrel per day, which would have meant more production and drop in oil prices. Saudi Arabia and other OPEC members wanted to maintain the oil prices, and so they were quite strict on this quota limitation, and that is the pre-war, pre-28 Feb situation when oil was hovering around $70 per barrel. Now, Dubai has formally withdrew from OPEC, on the base for this production issue, B, due to some diplomatic tension with Saudi Arabia. Both of the countries, they are supporting two rival groups in Sudan, so in Syria, and that's where they have
And in Somalia.
that's where they have differences. And third important point is you should remember that COP28 was held in Dubai, and UAE government actually want to exhaust its production capacity and shift to renewable energy, and this is quite significant and least discussed in it. So UAE's departure from OPEC, of course, right now may not have any impact on oil prices because of closure of Strait of Hormuz. Even if it produces more oil, it cannot sell it anywhere. So production is quite irrelevant right now. But UAE want to peak its carbon emission and then simultaneously switch to renewable energy, and that is quite significant. And I think all these 3-4 factors they have led to UAE's departure. We should also remember that it's not the first country to leave OPEC. Earlier in 2019, Qatar left OPEC. Indonesia have left OPEC. Angola has left OPEC. So these 3-4 countries, they have already left OPEC, and now OPEC is a 10-member coalition where Saudi Arabia and Iraq, they are the 2 largest producers now.
And Russia also, they somehow join in OPEC plus. Do you think that at this point in time, US especially, the country, want to use UAE, as a tool?
Well, of course, all countries, they have their own national interest, and on the basis of their national interest, they decide about their foreign policies. Of course, no country get utilized or exploited by another country unless and until there are some national interest involved. And UAE's foreign policy and US foreign policy, if they have some overlapping win-win situation somewhere, of course, they can work together.
They can work together. Last question, quickly. Do you think that it seems that clearly political blocs are emerging, that UAE, US, Israel on one side, and Saudi Arabia and some other countries on the other side, especially after this Strait of Hormuz is closed, because Saudi Arabia is not as much a dagger drawn against Iran as the UAE. So do you think this energy grid, especially on hydrocarbon, is taking shape quicker than the world had expected, especially for the sweet oil?
Right now, how much production capacity of oil or gas a country holds, the price of oil and gas, both of these 2 things, they have become irrelevant.
Because of the Strait of Hormuz.
The war has told us its supply routes. Even if Strait of Hormuz opens tomorrow, so it's supply routes which are important now, merely by able to produce more oil, merely by able to buy more oil, are selling it cheap or expensive.
Whatever.
That becomes irrelevant if the supply routes are not there. So I can see at least 4 to 5 alternative supply routes emerging. We already have one pipeline, Saudi Arabia to Red Sea, about 1,200 kilometer.
Across the desert.
1,200 kilometer pipeline. Then we know that UAE and Amman, Iraq, they are working on a pipeline. There is also
close to the Suez Canal.
There are also east-west pipeline. There is another pipeline that is under consideration by Turkey, which is Turkey-Iran pipeline. Still another one is which is called Four Seas corridor that connects Mediterranean Sea, Pacific Ocean, Caspian Sea, and Gulf Ocean. So now is the era of finding alternatives so that the production capacity on which these oil producing states are sitting, they can ably utilize it. And if those routes and those corridors are not there, then of course OPEC or no OPEC, that becomes
right. So what is the bottom line? Last, what do you think? Well, instead that I should decipher.
You see, it is the OPEC is losing its significance.
Its significance.
So
to a large extent.
To a large extent, for a country like Pakistan, of course, if UAE decides to produce more oil, and if it can supply to world, it would mean the price of oil in global market would reduce. So as an oil importing country, I'll be happy. But it also creates unpredictability and uncertainty. At least under OPEC, the members of organization, they pre-decide on how much they will be producing, and they pre-decide on the rates. So there is some sort of certainty. Now, UAE being the third largest producer in OPEC, if it decide to produce more or produce less, or to peg whatever price it want to decide, that would create stress and that would create uncertainty in the oil market. So this is an interesting time. Let's see
Yeah, let's see. Nobody can
how
predict.
it evolves. But we should also keep in mind that it's not only the OPEC that UAE has withdrawn. UAE is also considering its membership in all other multilateral organizations, and they are trying to see which organizations being a member is make some sense and which are just symbolic memberships, and they actually want to withdraw from many other multilateral arrangements where they feel that it's just symbolic engagement and not very productive use of resources and time.
Last question. Do you think on supply and price differential, this is the time for the world on a very significant level for a transition towards the renewable?
It is, of course.
Or already it's happening?
It's already happening. Whenever the war ends, the energy systems of the world would reshape. Countries
Very significant.
they would go for nuclear, they would go for coal, and they would go for renewable. I think
Renewables.
most of the countries, if they haven't learned their lesson from 70s crisis, they have learned it now that dependence on imported fossil fuel is no more an option or no more a viable option. So all countries, they would try to find some alternative fossil fuel, imported fossil fuels.
So it's a time for transition. Yeah, quickly I'm quoting someone. He said, and I think it's very beautiful, he said that Stone Age ended not because there were no stones. So is the age of fossil fuel coming closely to an end. But we never thought that it will start its beginning of an end in such a way, or it would be triggered with a war. But let's see. Nobody knows what is going to happen over the next few months and days. So let's keep our finger crossed. But OPEC seems to be losing its grip on, at least on energy supply and price fixation. With this, we come to the end of the program. Bye for now.